Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 here, talking SEC basketball and then some baseball. Let's start with hoops, Blake. A&M made a great run through the NIT and then loses in semi-heartbreaking fashion last night. From what I hear, I didn't get to see it. I had my eye on baseball. What did you see? What did you make of A&M's loss to Xavier in the NIT final?
Yeah, great game. Yeah, for those who watched it, you didn't miss a good. If you didn't watch it, you missed a great one. It was just a great college basketball game. Yeah, it was just fantastic from, well, I would say start to finish, but Xavier got off to a great start, and A&M rallied and goes up at halftime, and yeah, it looked like A&M was in a really good spot. I mean, they I thought they were down 15-6, and then wound up being up 10 at half and just seemed to be in a nice spot. But Xavier hit some big shots and yeah, just basically gets beat, not necessarily at the buzzer, but I think the shot went in with 3 seconds left or something like that. Basically a hook shot in the paint for Xavier, and then I don't remember who the player was, but A&M comes down with 3 seconds and basically have a running 3-pointer, and that ball goes all the way in, and it just comes right back out. And yeah, just hate it for A&M because they did, like I said, they look like a team on a mission that was out to prove they belonged in the NCAA tournament, and they did. Whether they didn't have to prove it in the NIT, they proved it in the regular season in the tournament. But yeah, it's tough, but I still think there's a lot you can build off momentum wise. Not every year you see a team play 40 games. A&M hit their 40th game of the season in that one. So that's always interesting to me. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember the last time a team played 40 games. I'm sure there's one out there, but when you factor in that they played, 31 in the regular season, 4 in the SEC tournament to get to the championship, and now they play 5 to get to the NIT championship. 40-game season for A&M. So pretty interesting stuff there, and played their best basketball from February on, and almost got it, but yeah, came up just a point short on that one. But credit to Jonas Hayes. We talk about a coaching job. I mean, I think a great coaching job from Buzz Williams to get his guys motivated. But I mean, Xavier fires Travis Steele after their first NIT win, and Jonas Hayes just picks up and leads them to a championship. Beating Florida and Vanderbilt along the way, and A&M. Invite Xavier to the SEC. They get 3 SEC wins to win the NIT here: Florida, Vanderbilt, and A&M. So by no means were they just beating a bunch of teams that had no business being there. They beat some good teams along the way. And yeah, by the way, one of those included who? Dennis Gates' Cleveland State team. So boy,
It
man,
always comes back to Dennis Gates.
I mean, technically they beat 4 teams that are somehow aligned with the SEC. I don't think St. Bonaventure has any SEC alignment, unless you go back to the Jan Bredikoff coaching them in the late 90s. So yeah, so there you go. It was well earned, and I think Jonas Hayes will be a head coach sooner rather than later. I saw that maybe he comes back on Sean Miller's staff, which I'm sure Sean Miller would love to have him, but that guy looks like a head coach to me, and I know a lot of Georgia fans wanted him there. But yeah, props to them. That was quite a run. So
hard to know the answer to this question in the era of the transfer portal and all these things we talk about. But any carryover implications for A&M after making this run?
I have no clue. I think, and I think it's so, like you said, it's just, as you can see, you could replace A&M with anyone.
Right.
You just don't know. I mean, you look at the roster. I mean, Quentin Jackson's a senior, and I mean, look, you've still got so they had several, and we talked about that throughout the season. They had several underclassmen that were a big part of their success. So if you assume those guys come back, yeah, they're gonna be a good spot, and you'll just assume they're gonna bring in some transfers and those kind of things. I think Diarra was one that we really saw him just come on, and I mean, he's a sophomore, I think. So I mean, as long as he comes back, I think he could be out for just a huge breakout season next year, perhaps. And again, some of those other guys were also under. I mean, Henry Coleman's a sophomore too.
Yeah.
So if you assume those guys come back, then yeah, I think A&M will be a top half team next year, and they'll add more to the mix. But it's hard to know, just based on, again, like you said, transfers and all that. So
yeah, I'm thinking if things go okay for them, that's a potential preseason top 25 team.
Could be.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
losing Jackson is tough, but they had developed other parts around him by season's end.
yeah, and I think it's just you're probably going to have 5 SEC teams in. Auburn got a big bump yesterday too, so we have to factor that in. I think Auburn, to me, now probably is right there to joining those other 3 teams that we kind of singled out with Alabama, Arkansas, and Kentucky. So I think now after the commitment for Auburn yesterday, I think you add him to the mix, which of course former LSU commitment. Traore there, I mean, he's a stud. There's no other way to put it. So when you add another 6'10" guy, it's not the same. But obviously, you replace a 6'10" guy and Jabari Smith with another 6'10" kid coming in with a lot of skill. And yeah, so that's another big pickup for Auburn. And so you start to look at them and how they compare. And that's where if you're playing the A&M game, where do they kind of land in there? I think you've got a pretty clear at this point. I think you got a pretty clear top 5 in the SEC in some order. I think it's Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn, Tennessee. And so then it's trying to figure out who are those other teams. Because again, we talked about there's so many coaching changes that you just don't know what to expect from some of the other teams, I guess. So they should be all right, though. I think A&M will probably wind up being a top half team next season, somewhere in there. So
we don't know about Walker Kessler yet. I mean, he got an NIL deal from Kangaroos.
I was reading this. What was it? Yesterday or the day before? Someone put out the story.
Dunkaroos, excuse me.
Maybe that was it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to find it.
I'm getting my shoes and my snacks mixed up.
I'm a big fan of Dunkaroos, so I got no problem. If we get them as a sponsor, I'm all in at this point. So I'm not even joking on that. So if anyone has any connections, let us know. Let's see. There was a story.
Sorry to Corn Nuts and Zero Bars, but you can be lapped with a little money.
I would take Dunkaroos over both of those. Not gonna lie to you. So let me find the story here. Someone put this out about still not sure about Kessler and what he's going to do, but I mean, look, if he does, right? If he does come back, I mean, Auburn's going to be a preseason top 15 team at worst. So yeah. So there you go. I mean, that's kind of the nature of where things stand. I mean, I think the SEC legitimately could have 4 top 15 preseason teams next season, but a long way to go still with transfers. But yeah, getting Yohan Traore there for Auburn, that's a big get. I'm pretty sure I'm saying his name right too. But Chris and I have this conversation every offseason when it comes to kids coming in. Until we see the pronunciation guide, we can hear it. But it's one of those things when you look on YouTube and you hear people say someone's name. Like one interview, it's one way. One interview, it's another way. The kid never corrects anyone, but they don't have to. I don't blame them. So
sometimes they don't correct people till they're almost done with school. So.
It's not their fault. Listen, they just I get it. I wouldn't want to do it either, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So there you go.
Kangaroos. Do kangaroos still exist in shoe form?
Maybe. That's a good question. There's another connection out there. If you have any connections on that, let us know. So
yeah.
By the way, quickly before we get to baseball, LSU, as we said, was going to become Murray State South, and it's there. So Trae Hannibal also joins, which we said was probably going to happen. So let's see. That adds. Let me pull it up real quick. Murray State's. Let's see. Scoring wise, they're top. Let's see. So Hannibal, Hill. So the 2 of their top 4 scorers are there now at LSU. I think with Hannibal, I could be wrong about this, but this is where there is going to be a lot of confusion. I'm just going to be straight up with you. Like whether guys are sitting out, they don't have to sit out. I am not sure on this one. I think he has to sit out, but I could be wrong on this.
When's the last time anybody sat out for anything?
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I saw someone bringing it up on Twitter, and that's when you never get to that point. You never start reading stuff on Twitter because it'll get you down the wrong path sometimes, or you don't know if he's eligible or not. I assume he is. I have no idea, man. I'm just going off the rails here because I can't find an answer on this.
Get this man some Dunkaroos.
Well, it's impossible now. Let me find this real quick because I don't want to give anybody any erroneous information. Well, there's an entire article that does not mention anything on it. So I don't know. I assume again. I'm finding this before we stop this because I need to know if this guy's eligible or not. But it's the trend is the bigger focus here. Like we said, it's no
Right.
surprise that Matt McMahon's picking up, different guys. And we said he picked up Juice Hill. He got Kendall Coleman from Northwestern State, another one. So, yeah, there you
What's
go.
the sell there?
We'll.
I mean, LSU has done some, but everybody knows what's coming. How is he selling this?
Well, it's the NCAA moves slowly. That's how I
true.
would sell it. Is
could play in the tournament
may
next
play
year
worst
for all we
case
know.
scenario. That's what I say. I mean, we could, you could play that game all you want, but quite frankly, it's just I think you're still not expecting much of anything as of right now until you kind of figure out, how it works. So,
let me ask you: is the NCAA's biggest punishment anymore not what it did to North Carolina, where it just hung in the air for forever and ever, and you don't know, and the suspense or the lack, I'm not picking the right word, the hesitancy to join a program where the hammer could drop at any time hanging over your program is sort of like probation. In the end, Carolina never really got much, if anything, from that. But the specter of that hanging over its program for years, I understand the perception was it cost him recruits. Does the NCAA just do the same thing to LSU here? I mean, it kind of already did, although it didn't really seem to hurt. So,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I get it. It's we'll see. I mean, it is something where you'll have to see how it plays out. By the way, I forgot this. Trae Hannibal, didn't he start at South Carolina?
He did, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he started at South Carolina. So see, that's the question I have, and I'm sorry that I don't know the answer to this.
Well, supposedly you get one, and then the second one you sit out
now, right?
But if you're a grad transfer, then I think you don't have to sit out. So is he graduated, or is he graduating?
I'm not seeing anything that mentions that he has to sit out. I think someone said it on Twitter, but like I said, don't ever believe that route sometimes. I'm just going to assume he's playing next season. So there you go. It gives some, another experienced player from Murray State to LSU. I think that's where it'll stop. I think it'll just be those two. Because pretty sure Williams and Brown maybe have declared for the NBA. Could be wrong about that. That was their top two scores. By the way, I know we're doing some of this on the fly, but this is the nature of transfers where literally things have changed since we started doing this 15 minutes ago. There have been 2 new transfers added. They're not from the SEC, but it's just this is how it works. So
transfers of significance.
No, we're not. I don't think in terms of not nationally. There were some big ones. If you want to follow some nationally, we talked about the Cambridge brothers. They're heading to Arizona State. So they're locked in there. If anyone thought they were going anywhere in the SEC, that's not happening. There were a couple big ones if you want to keep your eyes on some guys. By the way, Arkansas has contacted everyone. Don't forget that. Arkansas is going to be in contact with every transfer in the portal. That is the must-bust system. That is the science. But some of the other ones, Pack, Nigel Pack from Kansas State, that's a big one out there.
He's all Big 12, I think.
He's someone that there will be a lot of SEC interest in this, and I'm sure you've already seen a lot of people reaching out for him because that would be a huge pickup if anyone in the SEC gets him. Without question, I'm looking down the list here. There's probably others that I'm forgetting at this moment, but yeah, there's a lot more. Oh, I don't think we discussed Trevon Brazile going from Missouri to Arkansas. That was because we didn't do a video yesterday, and that was a big one. We haven't talked about it yet, but that only reinforces my belief that and I said this to someone the other day, and we talked about the Heat Check CBB top 25 had him at number 1. I think, to me, very clearly, Arkansas is going to be a preseason top 5 team. I don't think they're any worse than that next season. I think they're the favorite to win the SEC right now. But I mean, you add someone like Brazile to the mix. We saw him come on towards the end of that season. You could see the potential there with him. Another long, athletic type guy that's going to join the mix here and a lot of upside. And I'll tell you, Chris, this is going to be the big conversation we have. No longer is it just a matter of the recruiting and those things. It's who is using NIL to their advantage, who is getting the most support locally, I think, in that area and those kind of things. I mean, you can no longer deny that Arkansas is red hot when it comes to that, and they clearly have everything in place that you need to be successful in this new landscape. Because otherwise, I mean, this is becoming a destination spot for a lot of recruits, and at some point you have to cut it off somewhere, because you only have so many scholarships. But man, I mean, they're hitting a lot of home runs right now when it comes to recruiting and transfers, and they're not finished. I mean, as we said, they'll probably add someone else to the mix, couple, even one or two more to the mix by the time it's over. So yeah, Arkansas's boy, they're set up for a pretty fantastic season. Courtney Ramey too, by the way, from Texas. He's another one that decided to transfer. That's another big one out there. So
Sometimes I wonder if Arkansas's fans are passionate enough.
yeah, we certainly don't see that here on our channel
No.
by any means. Yeah, no, they're into it. If you thought they were into it this year, yeah,
Wait till next year.
Wait till next year, because next year the expectations I don't think have been as high, perhaps since the mid '90s, and I don't say that to put the jinx on anyone, but it is what it is when you have a roster that they built right now. Like I said, I think they're the preseason favorite. It'll be Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee in that group still somewhere. Maybe one of those teams that we just don't expect make a jump up somewhere. I'm sure one of the new coaches will have a fantastic first season and probably exceed expectations. But I think right now that's where things stand.
Did you get a chance to watch any baseball last night?
I saw an unfortunate ending for one Florida Gators.
Oh my goodness, there were two tremendous baseball games last night. Florida had trailed by 2. I can't remember if Judd Fabian's homer tied it or got them within 1, and then they got another one, but they tie it, they go ahead, they're up 6-4, and it just collapses on them in the 9th. Who was at the plate? I'll have to look this up. Because Florida had its left fielder played way around towards center. And a ball went to left, and guys ran for days, and that's how the Gators were walked off.
Yeah, that was quite a
Josh
finish
McAllister
there.
had to hit, and I was nervous he was going to get hurt in the celebration because he's been hurt a lot the last couple of years as he was getting mobbed and such.
Yeah, those celebrations, they make you worry a little bit. But Georgia's, I think we talked about Georgia. Was it last week maybe? And we kind of mentioned just at the end of one of the videos about, the expectations for them coming to the season. I know talked about kind of how high. I think what did we have preseason? Were they?
I think I had them 5 or 6, and I got blowback on that. I will tell you this. Everybody blew back on the lineup. I thought the pitching was going to be really strong. It has been the opposite of that. Their lineup has been better than their arms. And they did an interesting thing last night, Blake. They gambled because Florida started Hunter Barco, and Georgia hit him early. And Barco got out of maybe a bases loaded 1 out in the 2nd or 3rd, where Georgia could have really put some distance there. Ben Anderson had a home run before that. He's having a tremendous year. And you're thinking, okay, they got through it, and then they got the lead, and then you're feeling really good if you're Florida. But Georgia burned Jaden Woods last night, went all in on a win, and then it backfired. And then they got the runs, and so I guess it didn't backfire. But Georgia gambled and didn't start Jonathan Cannon, who is, he's their best pitcher, and then 5 blank spots till you get to whoever's next. So for Georgia to go win that game, beat Hunter Barco, and not use Jonathan Cannon, who might be the best pitcher in the league, you're feeling really good in Athens this morning. A lot of ball to play, but the way last night switched in an instant, that was interesting, and I think certainly with Cannon today, that tilts the series in Georgia's favor.
Yeah, they needed that one because they lost the series to Kentucky, right? And then coming off the
Yep.
So, yeah, that was interesting. Of course, Auburn got a good win.
Did you see the end of that?
I had to watch the replay. I saw the Georgia Florida one live, but I had to see the replay on the Auburn LSU one. But yeah, there's another one where, wow, what an unbelievable played in that one.
Josh Hall donated his knees.
The shins.
Or the
shins were
to
gone.
the
I saw
university.
that on Twitter. People were trying to donate their shins on Twitter to him. So
that poor guy, he wanted to celebrate. He really did.
He couldn't.
His teammates ran out when he couldn't walk. They went to him. A for effort and team camaraderie there. That poor
Auburn's
kid
an
was
interesting team, aren't they? I mean,
they're all interesting teams, man. They really are.
Auburn's interesting in that. I mean, you'd say to this point Auburn's exceeded expectations.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
I think Auburn probably of all the teams that are Tennessee, of course.
Well, yeah.
But behind Tennessee, Auburn is probably the team that's better by a bigger margin than I thought it would be than anybody else in the league other than Tennessee.
Yeah. Boy, their schedule though. I don't know if we talk about. I don't know if we talked about this, but I was looking at Auburn's schedule last night, looking ahead, and I'm thinking, oh my, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas. Oh boy. So hey, if it holds through let's see, that would be mid-May. My goodness. Yeah, that's boy, what a schedule that is. So
have you seen Sonny DeShera hit?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's
might be the MVP of the league so far.
Looking good. So yeah. I mean, I talked to someone yesterday, they're an LSU fan, I think. This was yesterday afternoon, and they're like, what do you think about this Auburn LSU series? I said, obviously we've seen what LSU can do, but I said Auburn's just an interesting team. I said I don't have another word for it. Like they're one of those that I feel like there's a wide range of possibilities, but it's kind of going in their favor right now, or you can, the good is outweighing the middle ground for them right now. And that's why I said the schedule. I think I mentioned them. I was like, yeah, the schedule's not pretty over the next, month and a half, but we'll see. So
Hayden Mullins, who shares my high school alma mater.
We heard that in the Twitter space last night.
Well,
folks.
I'm not going to let that go unsaid again.
You didn't miss the space, by the way. The space was
electric.
It was throwing heat last night in the space.
The pride of Hendersonville High School.
Yeah.
Do you know the mascot of the Hendersonville High School?
They are the Commandos.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. They're not the Commanders. They are
not the Commanders, not the Commodores, the Commandos.
No, they are the Commandos.
Which spawns a lot of jokes. We're not going to go there today.
No, I coached against them quite a bit, and we made those jokes quite often.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
Disrespect. Carson Skipper came on. He's been a good bridge guy for them. And Blake Burkhalter, in a year where there aren't a lot of great, dominant closers, has really been good for them. Brody Moore had a 2-run homer on that one. He's been kind of quiet this year. LSU had, I think, a 2-0 lead, and Blake Money was looking pretty good, and they put 5 on him in no time. And then Auburn just kind of had to hang on for dear life. I swear every out the last 3 innings seemed like a fly ball to the warning track. Because LSU can hit if you haven't noticed.
I think we can do a campaign for me to be called Blake Money on our podcasts.
Somebody said he's got a brother named Cash.
Well, that's even better. So
Blake Money is representing this area.
Yeah.
Saw him pitch in high school.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean.
By the way, any big series this weekend? Anything going on in SEC baseball?
I might head over to Vandy this weekend to get a
I hear there's a game over there.
Yeah.
We were talking about the ticket prices last night. I saw someone put an update this morning. I think it was the lowest I saw was $175.
Vandy, you got to add a deck. I'm just on behalf of the city of Nashville in the Southeastern Conference. When tickets to an early April series are going for $300 to $500 each, you got a demand issue that needs to be dealt with.
Listen, there was a question in the space last night. I'm very curious how many Tennessee fans are going to be in here. I'm very curious to see this. So,
I am too.
Because I even saw some Vanderbilt fans posting it on Twitter, like in the ultimate dilemma. Like they were just, you could tell it was eating them up. They're like, I really want to go, but I could get $500 for this ticket if I
can go to Omaha by selling my tickets.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm set for a full trip to Omaha just by selling my 3 tickets to this weekend. So Oh, that's gonna be that. I think the game's gonna be fascinating, but I'm curious to see what it looks like from that
Where it's
standpoint.
going to be interesting is behind home plate, because that's where
Yeah,
the money has the tickets, and the
yeah.
money doesn't show up till the postseason. So I don't know if you have like if you got folks that are just too rich to even bother selling tickets for $300 to $500.
Maybe.
Or they give them away, or they give them away to their Tennessee friends, or what that looks like. But
I wouldn't be
that's
giving any tickets away this weekend. I'd be
no.
putting that full price. I don't care if best friend or not. You're paying up for this weekend. Too
But what
big.
if you had more money than in your line in the
Oh
beach,
yeah.
in Tahiti somewhere? Do you?
Who cares?
I don't know. That's just
Congratulations to those folks out there.
yeah. Well, I think a lot of those are season ticket holders at Vanderbilt, which has
We
had
think
a
stakes.
decent blue collar fan base. It's just like that behind home plate. I'll tell you, will not be selling his tickets is the Whistler. The Whistler will be there. I can promise you.
I heard State got the Whistler's ticket. That's what I heard. I heard Stake is heading there. He's offered
As long
up,
as Steak doesn't whistle, I'm for that.
he's offered up the Omaha Steak sponsorship and everything to really get there and be in there for this one. So
I don't know if our man Steak follows baseball. Steak, if you're listening and you're getting called out and you watch it, we gotta know.
he'll be back soon.
Yeah. I don't know if Steak's a basketball, football only guy or if he's baseball, but this will be the litmus test.
We'll find out.
Nobody tell Steak. Don't tip him off. He's got to find out through this video.
Yep. We'll see if he pops up.
But man, great. In all seriousness, I'm intrigued by every single series this weekend, and I think it's going to be that way till late in the season. There's going to be some point where a couple teams, just because it happens, are going to be, out of Hoover. Although, I say that, this could be one of these years, Blake, without looking at the schedule. You could have all 14 teams still in contention for Hoover going into the last weekend. The league, I think, is so balanced. It is almost an anybody can beat anybody anywhere, anytime league.
Yeah.
I think you have Tennessee at the top. I would go Vandy and Arkansas next, probably in that order. And 4 to 14, the gap is not anywhere near what I thought it would be. And I say that, I got Vandy at 2, and Carolina's a bottom 4 team in the league. They beat Vandy last weekend, beat Texas. That's just the kind of league it is this year so far.
Yeah, this was another discussion that was had in the Twitter space last night. So another quick plug here. If you want to join the Twitter spaces, I think they're doing one tonight too. So this is Friday. If you want to join in, hop on and follow at SEC Baseball. Follow William on Twitter. He'll be setting up the space, but yeah, we'll be in there. So follow us, everybody on Twitter, and that way you can join in the Twitter space. Had a great discussion, a lot of great interaction in the Twitter space on Thursday night. So if you want to talk some baseball, jump on in there because it's a lot of fun. It's just we have fun on this and we can interact with you guys via the comments, but actually speak
Twitter
back and
spaces
forth
are
and
fun.
have a conversation. That can offer a lot more value, which you saw what we did with the basketball ones. I know some people in here were in the basketball ones too, but if you want the baseball ones, hop on in. There's should be a nice crowd as usual in there.
The cool thing last night is you had some fan bases like Alabama, A&M had representation in the room. That was good. We need Florida. We need a little more Florida and Georgia baseball. So if you're listening, hop into space tonight.
We got our Florida basketball guys out there, but we got to find our Florida baseball guys. So hop on in there, Florida fans.
Yeah, and we have not figured out the content flow for baseball yet, but we will, and there's going to be tons of it. So anyway, any final thoughts?
No, we'll be back next week, barring any huge breaking news this weekend. We will be back next week, and we got a lot of fun stuff planned. As we said, we're going to kind of do these kind of basketball updates, I guess you could call them, throughout the off season, just with noteworthy stuff here and there. And we got some interviews coming, all that sort of stuff. So if you are a fan of certain teams and you would like to hear your head coach on our podcast, don't worry. We will get that stuff in the works this off season and should have quite a few coach appearances coming on the basketball front this off season. So yeah, just a lot of fun stuff, basketball, baseball, and don't forget, I think SEC football is a thing too, and we'll have that. We'll have some people on to chat about that soon. So we got a lot happening. Hit the subscribe button. You won't regret it.
You will not regret it. All right, we'll have some baseball content coming up this weekend as we'll do some quick summaries on games. And again, we will see you early next week, maybe even Sunday night. It depends. But thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.